Hi, and welcome to the Dell Technologies booth at Computer World's Define Tomorrow virtual event. We'd obviously love to be there in person with you to discuss all your needs from Dell Technologies. My name's Jason Crawford, and with me is Andy Bone.
Hi, indeed, and welcome to the Dell Technologies booth. Today, we've got a series of short videos to show you the solutions that Dell Technologies have for the workforce transformation, or as we now like to call it, work redefined.
A few years back, Dell did an assessment of the way that people work and the types of users of our systems. This is what we called our workforce transformation. It was finding out how users use their machines, how they prefer to interact, and also what do they require within them. Are they maybe a specialist user that requires a special device that works in a particular way for them? Are they a regular user? Are they a desk worker? Now, that's fine and well in those current times, but we've had to make a reassessment ourselves and actually relook at the workforce transformation as our environment has changed around us. Obviously, those include things like remote working, collaborative workspaces with social distancing, and also collaboration within rooms, but yet again at a distance. So we've had to put a lot of products in place and bring them out early in some cases to meet the needs of our current working times.
Our need to work, connect, and learn hasn't changed. It's been redefined.
I was tired of being upset. Always wanted something I never could get. Life's a mission.
Let's empower your organization to adapt to anything with on-demand solutions from device to cloud. This is Work Redefined.
Indeed, so we can see from the video there, the digital workspace has changed. It's changed significantly. In fact, over the last few months, many organizations have moved quickly to support their remote workforce. And they did that by buying lots and lots of mobility devices. However, it's now time to sit back and take stock, because what we need to do now is we need to look at the future, how to move forward, how the workforce transformation is going to adapt in the coming months and indeed years. The evolving workforce transformation is all centered around these 7 key building blocks. These are the foundation stones to ensure seamless remote working.
So, obviously, in line with the workforce transformation, we're really concentrating on what the worker needs. And what those workers' needs are can vary. The first thing, obviously, that I can think of is the environment that we're working in. We're obviously in a challenging position at the moment. Many of us are working in different places. I'm working, for example, at my dining room table. Andy is working from his garden shed. And we've got to try and make that environment suit us in the best way possible. So, a few things that we put in place when we did our transition. We actually got ourselves some comfy chairs. We got ourselves clearer monitors, a resolution and a height adjustability that are suitable for our conditions. Now, the thing is, when we look at a lot of organizations, we try and work out how's it going to be easy to set up those things. Now, obviously, for myself and Andy, that's no problem whatsoever. We've worked with Dell Technologies for many years, so we've kind of got used to a lot of the equipment. But that isn't the same for everyone in the organization. Some people are working in finance, some people are working in HR. That setup at home might be a little bit challenging. Not everyone is used to plugging in cables, setting up monitors, and setting up all that different environment to get back to work. So we have to think about that logically. We look at deployment services. We make sure that it's a seamless plug and play scenario. We want to be doing simple things like plug in the power to the monitor, have a single cable out to our laptop, and that will pass the charge and all the connections that we require to get connected. And we can look at that in a unified workspace scenario. We can look at things like Workspace ONE or Microsoft's Autopilot so that that deployment is seamless for all the applications that they would require. As we transition on, though, we're going to have to look at the potential of returning to site. Because as we know, all great conversations happen face to face. So we're expecting people to move into those kind of environments. And we'll have a look at a little bit of those later on. They could be obviously remote collaboration, they could be in a shared workspace, or even once we get back to being in boardrooms in maybe a socially distanced fashion, looking at something like a large format display within there. Now, also in tune with all of this is about the security. We have to keep these environments secure. That is a huge challenge at the moment because, as we know, 95% of all attacks happen at the end user space. And that's through many times no fault of their own. It's something that they haven't seen or they've noticed that looks legitimate and they've accidentally clicked through. And before we know it, we've got a difficult challenge in our hands. So our devices have some proactive securities on place and on board the machines. We wrap this all up, obviously, with making sure the services are in place again, and Dell's award-winning Pro Support Plus ensures that we're proactively looking at those systems to make sure that they are running healthily and efficiently. And if we notice a problem, we can act upon that and make sure that that user is kept with uptime and has either an engineer out on site or a component sent to them to make sure that they're as seamlessly as possible working on that system. Bundle that all up with our finance services, we can change the way that you purchase equipment and make sure that it moves from a capital expenditure to an operational expense and tie in PC as a service so we can bundle your entire solution so that you can look at it as a cost per user rather than that big outgoing one at a time.
So once we've started looking at these key building blocks, what we need to do then is look at the key questions that we need to start asking about our users and our organizations. So for example, does the workforce technology systems integrate or work together effectively at the moment? Now this is a key area because lots of things over the past few months might have been cobbled together. Can employees connect to information and tools that they need, regardless of which devices they're using, whether it's a mobile phone, whether it's a tablet, or whether it's a laptop device, or even a fixed desktop unit? The technology moving forward, what do we need to enable better productivity? An addition of a single screen, for example, can improve productivity by around about 28%. Are employees able to effectively collaborate? Do they have the right tools? Do they have headsets, microphones? Do they have web cameras that effectively enable them to collaborate professionally and in a high quality environment? And finally, do current technology solutions support or hinder that digital workspace? So we really need to sit down and try and put together a cohesive plan. And at the center of this plan is the digital workplace. Now, this comprises of three arenas. We have to work out how to personalize that worker experience, how to make sure that dynamic teams from all the workforce are enabled, and how IT can be simplified to enable all of these different arenas. Now, how do we do this? Well, we need to create role-based personas, and we're going to have a look at that a little bit later on. So that will define how the personalization of the worker experience works. We need to be able to deliver faster, more efficient workforce services. So that's all about, as Mr. Crawford mentioned earlier, it's all about that unified workspace maybe, or VDI solutions, or even just how we deploy devices with zero-touch capabilities. And finally, we need to have secure collaboration and communications anywhere, anytime, on any device. Now, that could be anything from a mobile phone right through to a large format 86-inch collaboration monitor.
With all this in mind and bringing it back to the key point is that remote working is here to stay. We're not going to beat around the bush in this. Things have changed and it will be part of whatever this new normal is. That even applies actually in Dell. Jeff Clark, our COO, he actually stated that we're looking at making sure that people have the choice to actually be able to continue this working from home even after this pandemic is over or is potentially gone away. Because we've seen the advantages actually of workers at home. We've seen that the performance rate goes up. We've seen that them being able to have that work-life balance and be able to get on with the day-to-day tasks that are needed. It means that when they get back into the working environment, they're more focused and they're more refreshed and ready to go. Now, obviously, that is something that we're going to miss out of this, is that interaction and that collaboration. So we're going to be looking at different options for those bridging the gaps. And that will be looking at those permanent workspaces, so those offices that you go into that you just book a desk for a day, so we can have those social interactions at a distance for now, but being able to just seamlessly connect with the device that you potentially had at home. So wouldn't it be nice to have, again, single cable connectivity, being able to just plug in wherever you decide to work, whether that be a shared workspace or even potentially a coffee shop or a bar, wherever we're allowed to go in the future. Now, the last piece in the puzzle, of course, is those bigger meetings. But what's happening at the moment is we've already seen some changes in some organizations. Some organizations have some of their workers working in a social bubble. But does that feel exclusionary to those at home? Not necessarily so. We can use our large format displays in conjunction with our Optiplex micros, and our partners Logitech have a nice conference room camera that we can pop onto that display and be able to interact with those that are working in that bubble in the boardroom, but also combine that workspace with working with those that are working from home. So it feels like a shared environment, and we still have that shared experience using all the software that we're used to using today.
The new normal has also made the world a much smaller place. We no longer have to work in our own town, our own cities, our own counties, or even our own countries. As a remote worker, we can work anywhere in the globe, whether it be on a beach or sat at your dining room table, like Jason, or in the shed, like myself. So what this means as well is that organizations need to stay on top of the game and be able to provide the correct technology for their employees. If employees feel that they can't be productive with the technology that's in front of them, they will move, and they will move to jobs where they will find that technology and get that technology provided to them. So how can we help? Well, in collaboration with Computer World, we can talk about personas with you. We can have a look at the persona setups. I'm not going to go into too much detail because it is quite in depth, but we can provide professional assistance and advice to enable you to look at your organizations and to take a step back to work out what your end users' environments are. Again, all about those building blocks that we started with at the beginning, what their needs are, how to secure that environment, and ultimately how to make a very happy end user.